It is time. Way too early NFL quarterback rankings. Last week we did way too early college football team rankings. You guys loved that video.
You love the video.
You guys
love football. We're starting to learn something.
Yeah, the way too early rankings are just the best way to start getting yourself thinking football again.
3 months
you start
early,
debating things. You start talking about who's good, who's bad, why is it going to play out a certain way in the future. And we're going to start a whole position ranking series. So we're starting with quarterbacks, then we're going to hit wide receivers, running backs, etc. Ryan, I want to start with you.
Let's do it, baby.
QB1 for next season, 2025 NFL season. Who is it?
Oh, it's revenge time. Patrick Mahomes,
Wow.
QB1 next year.
Wow.
Now, this is a guy on any field at any moment I want as my QB1 on the team.
Baseball field.
Sure. He played baseball too. Great
Yeah, he was
baseball
good.
player. Amazing.
Great baseball player.
I think Patrick Mahomes has a huge season next year. I think they kind of they were so comfortable the last couple of years when they were just getting to the Super Bowl so easily. He's going to go back into form 3 years ago where he was just leading the league in every category. I think he'll go crazy. And his weapons will be the best I think he's had in a long time.
Is Travis Kelce playing?
I have no idea.
It looks like he might.
Regardless of Travis Kelce, I think will be won't matter to this team at all. Rasheed Rice, hopefully back out there. Worthy back out there. They'll figure it out. My number 2 is Josh Allen, Mr. MVP. He's just unbelievably talented. It's kind of goes in between him and Lamar Jackson. I have Lamar at 3. I think Josh Allen can throw a little better. Wins a little more for his team. Has had a worse team in my opinion. So Lamar Jackson's my 3 right behind him. 4 is Joe Burrow. The guy just has to stay healthy, and I don't know what else this team's really just shooting themselves in the foot. So I don't know.
It's not a Bengals conversation.
No, yeah, sorry.
Joe Burrow
as a quarterback
it's
production.
Going to be nuclear.
Yes,
we
it's
know
going
it's
to
going to
be
be nuclear.
I think the game scripts help him be absolutely nuclear. Hopefully, maybe MVP season.
Wide receivers might help a bit.
Just off stats. Yeah. 4 is Joe Burrow. Number 5, Justin Herbert. I think. 5 Justin Herbert. I think talent-wise, he's unbelievable, and he's finally got the team where I can now not make excuses for him. He could show it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got. I think Lad McConkey is going to be actually a wide receiver 1 people can have. So there's no more excuses because he literally hasn't had anyone or injuries the last 4 years.
Trey Harris might help a little bit.
I know Trey Harris will be great. I think as a whole, everything's going to be great on that team. So I think their offensive lineup's third. I think he's talented enough, and the rest of the quarterbacks are kind of not that great. So I think he takes a huge step. My next one's Matthew Stafford. He's just unbelievably talented. I always sleep on him, and then he proves me wrong every year. Even in the playoffs last year, they almost took down Super Bowl champions. So he's going to be amazing with Puka and Devontae Adams. Yeah. He's so good. He's so good. There's no way he's not unreal. Next, Jordan Love. I think he takes a huge step up. I think he's really talented. I've always thought this. He has spots where he doesn't look great. I think he's made the playoffs back-to-back years. I think he can really get going this year. Josh Jacobs is going to be good. They finally got some receiver help, hopefully in Golden if that works. So hopefully he's good. Next, Jalen Hurts. He's a weird one for me. He's talented, but the team's absurd.
What number is this?
Number 8.
Wow.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, number 8,
right.
Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is my number 8. Like I said, I think if you put any of the quarterbacks above I just said on the Eagles, I think it's very similar. I think they win a Super Bowl. I don't think Jalen Hurts is anything special. The quarterback sneak thing is really cool. He's the only one that could do it. That's sick, but I feel like good spot, 6 to 8. I just have him on the bottom level of that. 9, I have Jaden Daniels. His stats weren't that great last year. I know he looked really good as a rookie, and he was a winner, which I think is super important. But I think next year, like anything, they start to figure out players and what they do. And I think his stats need to do a little better. It just wasn't that impressing me. It was mixed with all the other rookies. And my last one, number 10, Jared Goff. As much as I don't like him, he puts up the stats consistently. I don't care how good the team is, and he wins games for this team. And then a couple honorable mentions, Dak Prescott. He's going to be right in this range next year if he stays healthy. Who knows, coming off an injury. And then Caleb Williams will creep into the top 10 by the end of the year.
Wow. Yeah, our lists are very, very different. I'm excited after we go through all these to kind of get into some of the debate here. Number 1's Joe Burrow. It's pretty easy. He led the entire league in passing last season. They signed T and Jamar. They're going to try to fix the defense a little. It's not going to matter. Joe Burrow's still going to put up quarterback 1 numbers as he has been. He's the best passer in the NFL, and he's going to continue to do so. So, yeah, I think it's number 1's Joe Burrow. Number 2's MVP, Josh Allen. NFL MVP from last season. No signs of slowing down. Think the offense is going to take another step in the right direction. The Bills are also one of the best teams in the NFL. Josh Allen's running into the prime of his career right now. Don't think that stops the train. He's QB2. QB3 is the runner-up for MVP last year, lost by 4 votes. Lamar Jackson, runner-up last year, MVP 2 years ago. Most dynamic quarterback in the league. Almost got the job done this year in the playoffs. I mean, there's a lot to be said about the way that game ended. I think the Ravens, not only for the regular season but in the playoffs, probably I might put them as my favorite to go to the Super Bowl out of the AFC this year. Bless you, Mike. Number 4 is Jaden Daniels. I'm surprised you had him that low. I definitely want to get into kind of a debate after we go through all the lists. NFL Rookie of the Year, led his team to the NFC Championship in his first season. They added Debo and beefed up the O-line. The stats, I was surprised you said they're not that good. Like 3,600 passing yards, not very many interceptions, bunch of touchdowns, rushed for 900 yards and 6 touchdowns on top of that. I mean, if you put his combined stats up against other quarterbacks' combined stats, they're at the very top of the NFL. And I think it's only going to get better. I really, really love Jaden Daniels. Number 5 is Jalen Hurts. Just won the Super Bowl on the best team in the NFL, reigning Super Bowl MVP after dominating Mahomes and the Chiefs. And I totally agree with you. I think any quarterback on that Eagles offense is just going to produce and win. And that's what he's going to keep doing. So I think it'd be really hard-pressed to put Jalen Hurts outside the top 5 when he's just continually putting up good numbers, winning an insane percentage of the football games that he starts for this team. And then, obviously, reigning Super Bowl MVP, he's doing that thing. Number 6, Trevor Lawrence. Poised for a poised for a massive season after getting hurt last year. The year 5 leap up, as people are saying. Many people are saying this is possible.
Possible is a great word.
The 2 seasons prior to last, he threw for over 4,000 yards, had 30 touchdowns and 25 touchdowns, respectively. They added Travis Hunter to pair with Brian Thomas Jr., and Brian Thomas might be a top 2-3 receiver in the NFL for next season. We're going to talk receivers later. I mean, he finished top 3 wide receiver numbers last year. And Liam Cohen went from the Bucs offensive coordinator to the head coach, and he's running the offense in Jacksonville. This is the 3rd head coach and 3rd coordinator Trevor's had. Obviously, Trevor was hurt last year. His first year with Urban Meyer was a strange one. But when Trevor's had somewhat decent coaching, he's been really above average. He hasn't been fantastic any of these seasons. But I think Liam Cohen, what he did with Baker in that offense, an offense that not a lot of people thought was like super explosive or spectacular, and then turned Baker into a quarterback that was putting in top 5 passing numbers with the weapons they have in Jacksonville. I think Trevor's gonna have a big year. I think he could get into the top 5, like low top 5, but I'm at 6. Number 7, CJ Stroud, 6th in passing last year. Absolutely star-studded wide receiver class around him. Takes another step forward in year 3. I think CJ, it'd be hard for me to put him outside that top 7. Patrick Mahomes at 8. He's been outside the top 5 in passing yards the last 2 seasons. Obviously, his stats in the regular season haven't been spectacular or warrant any sort of top 5 acknowledgement there. We obviously know what happened in the Super Bowl. They got destroyed by the Eagles defense. They found something that said, Patrick Mahomes not going to be able to move the ball at all against us. Even though he's falling off massively statistically, I think he still has Andy Reid at head coach last time I checked, and a pretty good team around him. So I think he'll end up in the top 10.
Falling off massively statistically.
He is. I mean, he is. He was literally at the top of the league. He hasn't been top 5 last 2 years. I think putting him in the top 5 would be psychotic for the next season. But if he ends in the top 5 statistically, I'd be extremely shocked. Much more so
He was 7
than like a CJ Stroud. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he ends in the top 5, I'd be really surprised. Number 9, Baker Mayfield, 3rd in passing last year. This is a big drop off for Baker, and it's the reason I put Trevor that high. It's because they lost Liam Cohen. New offensive coordinator is Josh Grizzard. No idea what this guy's. He's like a team assistant. He's never had this role in his life before. I'm assuming they try to run a semi-similar offense, but without the guy in charge, you've seen drop-offs like this before when quarterbacks change OCs. It's a big shakeup. So I think there's a drop-off for Baker, and Godwin's hurt. He has a Mecca to replace him. Mike Evans is getting older, so I see that spot from Baker going from like 3 to 9 is semi-reasonable in my mind. And then 10, I have Jared Goff. He's 2nd in passing last year. A bunch of arguments I could see putting him in the top 5. I'm not going to argue with anyone who has him in their top 5 by any means. I just needed him in the top 10. He's QB2 last year for passing, most electric offense in the NFL, receiver talent all around him. But they lost Ben Johnson. So he's over there with Caleb Williams. We'll see how the Lions go. But with Ben Johnson, Jared Goff was definitely a top 10 quarterback. We'll see going forward. But that's my 10.
All right. Clearly, these lists are not based for fantasy. They're based for winning and how they're going to do in the NFL. For that reason, my number 1 quarterback is shared with Ryan. I think it's Patrick Mahomes. He's the only quarterback in our league that people will actively have conversations comparing him to the actual GOAT, Tom Brady. Career-wise, I think he's on that projection to pretty much be neck and neck, if not a little bit, maybe win a Super Bowl or more or less than Tom Brady did. Number 2, I have Lamar Jackson. I think he's one of the most dynamic quarterbacks just physically. The things that he's able to bring to a field, the dual threats in running and passing. I know he doesn't run nearly as much as he used to, but he still has that in him. Number 3, pretty chalk. The MVP, Josh Allen. I mean, it's kind of neck and neck with Lamar. If you want to put Josh Allen at 2 like Ryan did, I'm really not mad. 4, Joe Burrow. I just think he has insane talent everywhere around him, and production-wise, like, it's going to be hard for him to not make things happen as long as he stays healthy and the people around him stay healthy. I mean, he's shown what he can do since literal his college days and in the NFL. He can produce when he's given the right situations, and I think, this could be a good spot for him. Number 5, I felt like this was a couple screws loose in my head to put him this high, but I'm riding the Jayden Daniels hype train. I think he is literally the next phenom for quarterbacks in the NFL. I think this year he could easily be a top 5 quarterback, especially if he kind of reflects what he did last year. He's going to be more adapted into the NFL. He's taken all of the progressive steps to not hit that sophomore slump. I think he's going to do excellent. 6, I have Jared Goff. Similar to what Ty said, I mean, that Detroit Lions offense, the problem with their team was never the offense. In any way, shape, or form, it was always the defense. I mean, the guy produces every year. He's unreal talent-wise. 7, I have Jordan Love. We saw a couple years back, I mean, with no receivers and pretty much zero help, he was able to take that Packers team to he took them to a championship, right? Second round. Divisional, but I mean, still pretty good push for a team that really didn't have anything, and he kind of made that entire push off the second half of the season. Talent-wise, it's 100% there, and I think with the added weapons on his receiving core, I think he could actually
what added weapon?
Matthew Golden, hook and horns.
Yeah. Had to throw that in there for you.
I think he could definitely make a real push. Number 8, I'm a rider. Matthew Stafford. He's your quarterback's favorite
Mike's
quarterback.
a rider.
He's a rider.
Mike rides.
I'm
Get
a
the knee
rider.
pads.
Sure. I mean, for Matt Stafford, whatever.
Absurd.
Shout out Puka Nacua.
We have that confirmed.
Yes.
Shout out
We
Puka
got that on
Nacua.
camera.
Shout out Devontae Adams. I love you both. You guys are gonna
Knee pads for all of them.
Yeah. I mean, they're playing
You were
football.
about to say
They're playing football. They're playing
What's
football.
just happened?
Playing with balls, Mike.
They're playing football. Number 9 is your Super Bowl MVP, Jalen Hurts. I think.
A lot of Jalen Hurts disrespect.
Well, I just think Jalen Hurts fits really well in his specific system. I don't necessarily think he's the most talented quarterback to where he could like plug and play in anywhere and make their offense like productive. But I think specifically at the Eagles, especially with Saquon Barkley giving him like an added threat weapon wise, I mean, I think he looks phenomenal. He won a Super Bowl because of it. And, especially if you're looking at that Super Bowl game, the first half was all Jalen Hurts. Like, Saquon didn't really do anything. And, that kind of shows the caliber of player he is. Number 10, really am basing this just off his rookie year and kind of what I hope is going to happen. CJ Stroud, I know he hit a little bit of a slump last year, but I think he's going to bounce back. He showed it in his rookie year that he has the talent to do so. And then honorable mention, way long shot. But if this guy ends up being a top 10 quarterback, because I know he's going to start, Jackson Dart.
Wow.
Jackson Dart.
Wow.
That
You
is
think
a
he's
good
starting
call.
week 1?
No.
That'd be a
But
hell of
I
a
think he's
call.
going to start probably like week 4, and then he's going to take over that team. And if he just,
All right, you're taking your shot.
Hey,
He's
Jackson
got the
Dart.
receiver talent there to help
Jackson
him out
Dart.
with Malik. Mario, round us out here. Who's your number 1?
All right. So my top 10 is a mixture of people I think are good personally, also statistical output, which kind of goes into fantasy football.
Yeah.
It's a mixture of kind of both and like the team wins and everything. Number 1, I have Lamar Jackson. I think, him and Josh Allen, to me, they're right there every year for who's going to
I'm
win
surprised
MVP.
no Josh Allen's at 1 for our whole group.
I thought Ryan had no two.
Patrick Mahomes.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
too. Yeah, that's what I was saying. MVP not at 1 at 1.
That actually
That's
is crazy.
I feel dirty putting Joe above him now, but continue.
Okay. Lamar, he's special. I think last year he really showed me a step forward in his passing. Still don't think he's an elite passer yet, but I think he's right on that fringe where he's like getting there. It shows that he's putting in the work every year because he's improved as a passer. Obviously, we know what he can do with his legs, and that team, they're going to win a lot of games. That defense is looking scary, even drafting, Malachi Starks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
Tim will be fine.
I mean, the Ravens. I think the favorites to win in the AFC.
Yeah. And then number 2, no surprise, MVP Josh Allen. I'm not going to reiterate what everyone said here. Obviously, he's special. Number 3, I got Jaden Daniels.
I
I like it.
4.
I like it. I'm at 5.
You'll notice a trend with my 1, 2, and 3. In my opinion, they're the 3 best dual threat quarterbacks in the league. I just think that's the way the league's trending. Jaden, I think, very similar to Lamar, probably the second best runner just in terms of like scrambling
For sure.
and like elusiveness. And then also, I think similar passing ability to Lamar. I think he's a little bit more accurate, but they're both like fringe, have that potential to be elite passer on their given day. Now I think Jaden, he just strikes me as the guy who's going to put the work in to improve. So I actually do think statistically, from a passing output, he'll improve this year.
Me too.
Maybe they don't go out and win 11 or 12 games. Maybe they lose a few games, but I think individually he actually takes a step forward. 4, I have Joe Burrow. Nothing to say. Led the NFL in passing, everything. This offense is going to just explode every week. So, draft him for fantasy. Number 5, I have Jared Goff. I just think, again, the way the Lions play football is just pass,
Yeah.
go, like full gas forward. They don't stop. And I think their team is just so good that they're always going to be in contention for that 1 seed. So it's just hard not to put a team that's always going to sleep and get 12 wins every year. Right behind him is Jalen Hurts. I think Lions and Eagles.
That's 6, right?
Yeah, at 6. Lions and Eagles are always going to have the 2 best just rosters in the NFC. I think Eagles have the best roster, maybe in all of football. Jalen Hurts showed me last year that he could actually get it done as a passer. That was always my skepticism with
for
him.
real.
And he actually showed up in clutch moments and made high-level passes and just totally shut me up. Obviously, what makes great players, legends, is being able to do it year in and year out. So I'm banking on him being able to do that. But, obviously time will tell. Right behind him is Patrick Mahomes at 7. Nothing to say. I think Tyler touched on it really well. Statistically, he hasn't been what he was when he first entered the league. I think he learned that, you don't have to go out there and throw for 5,000 yards to win games. You can take the Tom Brady approach where you just manage the clock, manage the game. So just from a statistical output, I don't think he's ever going to be in that top 5. No. If he ever chooses to, he could, but I just don't think it's necessary for this team. They have such good defense. They can just get first downs, eat away at the clock. So I have him at 7. Right behind him at number 8, I have CJ Stroud. I think he was, 7th in passing last year?
6th.
6th in passing. And personally, I thought he was a little bit sloppy at times as a passer. I thought
sloppy.
there was a lot of room for improvement. And for him to be sloppy and still be 6th in passing, I think he could go absolutely nuclear. I think you're looking at a guy who, if all the pieces fit right for him, he could be top 3 in passing. Number 9, I have a wild take here. 2 wild takes for 9 and 10. Number 9, I have Kyler Murray. I actually just think
I like that.
I
That
think
offense is going to be
that
insane.
offense, I think, is very, very slept on. And I think when you talk about dual threat quarterbacks, I think he's top 5 just in ability. Obviously, he has to put it together for a whole season. We've seen them start out hot and then fizzle out really
Yeah,
fast.
they've had problems maintaining any type of winning streaks.
Yes. But I just think, this was a guy who was in MVP talks. Obviously, he got hurt, missed a lot of time, came back, had a lot of good flashes last year. They didn't always result in wins. But I don't know. I think it's a guy who I wouldn't be surprised if he went out there and performed really well. And that's kind of my idea with number 10 as well. Not a person who I think is the 10th best quarterback, but someone who I think statistically could go out there and perform really well, be top 10 in passing, and surprise a lot of people. And it's going to be Michael Penix at number 10. I just think this Falcons offense, they have
Drake
good
London.
receivers.
Yeah.
Bijan at running back. It's just going to, I don't know, I think they're going to put a lot of pressure on teams, and I think Michael Penix is an improvement from Kirk Cousins. So
Wow. Well,
All right.
there you have it.
I
I mean,
Michael Penix, that's tough.
there were 2 very common themes. Mario and I's lists were almost in complete lockstep
Yeah.
for the first 8.
yeah.
And then Ryan and Michael's lists were almost in complete lockstep. And there was one glaring difference, and it was where you placed Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
You guys both had him at 1. Mario and I had him significantly outside of the top 5. You had him
Yeah.
at 7. I had him at 8. Mike, I want to start with you. Why do you think Patrick Mahomes is still that one quarterback? Are you looking at it just from like
A value
when you
standpoint?
step back and you look at his whole career? Because you mentioned Tom Brady, right? You were talking about like, oh, when you look over the course of a career, he could have as many Super Bowls as Brady at the end of it. Is that kind of where you were thinking, just for like overall legacy of the quarterbacks? Or are you saying like going into next year, he's the best quarterback in the NFL?
I mean, I think it kind of goes hand in hand, and I also really like the way that Ryan introduced it. Is at any given point in any fourth quarter 2-minute scenario, who do I want out of all 32 starting quarterbacks? Who is the guy that I want leading my team, leading the charge? It would be Patrick Mahomes. And I know, like, last year we talked about like how Patrick Mahomes was getting all of these super controversial calls, and a lot of them were late in the game. For the most part, he ended up winning those games. Maybe it was because of the calls, or maybe it wasn't, but it was like the guy knows how to win. And this list isn't based for fantasy points. It's based off of the team success. And I think,
Well, it's not a
He
team
bring-
ranking, right?
Yeah.
Like we're talking about quarterback ranking.
well, I think he's
not just
the
who-
one.
But I like his argument against your Jalen Hurts argument when you said we could put any of these quarterbacks above him and they do just as well, and that's why you think Jalen Hurts will do.
You're
just
out
as
of your
well?
mind if you think any quarterback couldn't have stepped in and gone to the Super Bowl. The stats Patrick Mahomes had in the AFC playoffs were abysmal.
But it doesn't.
He threw for 150 yards.
But it's Patrick Mahomes. Like, and he steps up in the biggest moments and does the biggest throws and the biggest plays.
But like he threw for 150 yards.
Doesn't
against
matter.
against the
It
Texans.
doesn't matter.
Any quarterback could have. Jalen Hurts, you're telling me, couldn't have taken that team.
No.
What? Well, why
No.
couldn't Jalen Hurts throw 100 for 150 yards and not make the third down?
Jalen Hurts did it
win the
and
game?
beat him.
And Patrick Mahomes beat him 3 years ago. What's the argument?
Agreed. 3 years ago, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. We're on the same page completely. But the last 2 seasons, Patrick Mahomes has fallen off a cliff. And you look at any of his games. You can cherry pick any game you want in the playoffs this year from Patrick Mahomes, or look at his stats for the regular
Or
season.
just
Okay,
like
this is
Super
kind of
Bowls,
a-
Yeah,
this
or
is
the
a-
Super Bowl. Or
This is
the
a
Super Bowl.
weird parallel, but I feel
Really
like
never
you're kind of
performed well.
nitpicking, and in a
Nitpicking
way,
where?
well,
All
I
of
think you're
last season,
so
any
no,
game?
I think you're nitpicking in a sense of like, again, weird parallel here, but I think it's almost like saying Israel Adesanya is better than Alex Pereira, even though he's lost more times than he's beaten him, right? So it's like, Patrick Mahomes is still the better fighter. He's the Alex Pereira in this. But although Jalen Hurts has taken him down, that doesn't mean that Jalen Hurts is better.
We're not talking about all time. I'm saying we're talking about for next season.
But I think
These aren't career rankings.
I don't
Yes,
necessarily.
I think
2025.
that's the biggest difference.
I don't necessarily think if right now that's too different of a
Do you think
thing to say.
Okay, put it this way. Based on Patrick Mahomes' performance last season, did you think he was the best quarterback in the NFL last year?
I think given the situations he was in, he created the most success for his team. And if you were to plug and play
Are you a
31
politician? What the f- is the answer?
No, I mean that's
Wait, no. So like last season,
That's, like,
I know
very
we're talking
clear.
about next season, but just looking at last year, was he the best quarterback in the NFL last year?
for his situations 100%.
just yes.
Yes or no? Was he the best quarterback in the NFL last year?
Statistically, no, but again, for his situations, yes. It's
saying,
no
what does that
nobody
mean?
Like,
else
what does
could
that
have.
mean though? Like
Nobody
if
else
other-
would have pulled out the results that he pulled out to bring his team to a Super Bowl.
So throw in a completion and have a flag called. for
Wait,
the
so
first
what did
down?
he do that Jalen Hurts didn't? I'm really confused because the Chiefs were favorites, in all of their playoff games.
Yeah, I think a lot of that, if we're talking about the Super Bowl, I think a lot of the credit goes to the Eagles defense
Against who?
against Patrick Mahomes.
And who
But-
wasn't able to produce?
Okay, let's not talk. It's like Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl when you have an offensive line that's abysmal and getting cooked,
And you have
That
no
has a huge
receivers.
factor.
I mean, he didn't have a problem with it the majority of their other games in the playoffs.
I mean, they didn't face a generational defense.
Okay, but so we're saying just the Eagles defense.
No,
I mean,
but
Patrick
you're,
Mahomes
but no,
didn't do
so
well.
you're,
again-
you're all the way all in on just Patrick Mahomes, and I'm just trying to factor in a little bit of information. I'm not trying to say all in on Eagles defense. That's the reason why Patrick Mahomes sucked in the Super Bowl. Common sense. But Eagles defense also helped a lot to why
For
he
sure,
was
they
so
were
bad.
great. Yeah.
So like I'm not all you. What your question was? Oh, so we're blaming the Eagles defense?
No, I just
No,
asked for last season. Was
he
he
the
the best
best?
No,
quarterback?
I
and then
never
Mike
said yes.
No,
No,
I
we're
was talking to Mike, and then Mike said for his situations, yes.
Yes.
And I was saying,
So we're bringing up
how are his
situations.
situations more impressive than Jalen Hurts' situations?
They're completely different. Well, I don't understand the question. I mean, they
I mean,
literally
just your
were in two
statement. We're
different.
just asking your question. That
All right,
okay?
we can. Ryan, I know
Yeah.
you had the same take as Mike here that he was number one quarterback. Do you think he was the best quarterback in the NFL last year?
No,
Where did you put him for last year?
probably like 4.
Okay, and so what makes that difference to move him back to 1?
Because like I said, the Super when you get to the Super Bowl, Tom Brady it was a great point, Tom Brady doing this. When you get to the Super Bowl every year, you don't need to change what you're doing. You don't need to do extra. You don't need to throw for 400 yards. You need to win. Tom Brady did this so well. He just won. Patrick Mahomes just wins. I know you guys like to talk about their defense or the rest. He, in the biggest moments, performs. No matter when it is, fourth quarter, if it is in the first half and he needs a big play, always hooks it up, and he does it every single time. And he's won, what was it, 11 straight playoff games and lost the Super Bowl last year. It was the first team to embarrass him in the Super Bowl in years.
Since the Bucks.
It happens. You got to the Super Bowl. It's not a bad thing. You might have sucked in one game, but I think this year it's finally him being, not only does he have the weapons better than he's ever had the last 4 years since he's been an amazing quarterback, but he also has the ability now to know, hey, I can't just sit on my ass and just let the league tear me apart.
I wonder, I guess I'll just pose it like this. What stats would Patrick Mahomes have to finish the season with? Say they have a very similar year to last year, right? Where they are the best roster in the AFC. They win the most games because it's Andy Reid also and Patrick Mahomes. The same Belichick Brady, right?
Yeah.
It's the same. The best coach, best quarterback, from a winning
Usually
perspective
works out well,
on the same team. They win the majority of their games.
Then I'm wrong.
Yeah. Well, no.
Because I had him at 4 last year, so if he finishes 4,
No, I'm just asking what stats does he need to put up to go along with the winning that would make you say, okay, I was right, it's QB1.
So he needs to throw more touchdowns, less picks. This is the first time ever in his career. It was terrible. I think it was like 26-11. It was terrible for Patrick Mahomes standards, even on normal days. He's throwing a ton of picks, which we saw.
Yeah,
all year.
26-11 and 3,900 passing yards.
Yeah, it was not good. Passing yards, I think it was 6 or 7.
7th.
So, he could throw. He played one less game, too.
It was a down year for
If
passing.
he throws 300 more yards, I don't know where he puts him. So,
You put him right there with Lamar at 6.
I'm saying, or Lamar at passing yards. So, I think he'll just be better as a whole, and he's getting his weapons back. So I just like the fact that. Also, just for me, the biggest thing is on a field. If I want one quarterback to win the game, Patrick Mahomes is the most winning quarterback out of anyone we talked about. So I'm gonna.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
conversation.
argue at all from a career standpoint, or even from a value. I think obviously if it was hey, we're doing a redraft, and I think every GM would unanimously take Mahomes one overall.
Yeah.
I
From
think
this point forward, I think
potential,
close.
I think potential wise, he has the highest ceiling. He has the most ability. For me, I mean, if you're gonna look at his career, then obviously he's the number 1 quarterback ranked. But I think for me, I just went off a mix of how do they produce wins? Which, regardless of Mahomes' stats, he's gonna produce wins. But also his statistical output, in my opinion, that also had to be a factor in my rankings. I'd be very shocked if has a Joe Burrow season where he leads the league in all of passing. I'd be very shocked if Mahomes did that.
Really?
So for me, just because I don't think he has to. So for me, that's why I can't.
Why?
I mean, with his roster, it'd be tough. I don't think Kelsey's the same as he used to be. You don't have the best or second best tight end ever who
their O-line's going to look
with
completely
the best
different.
chemistry. Yeah, you have a new O-line. They don't have a great run game, and which they had with Kareem Hunt when he was throwing for 5,000 yards, and also he was a great receiving back. And then also you had Tyreek Hill, who was the most explosive X factor receiver I've seen in a long time, just off pure speed that translates into NFL route running and after the catch.
Oh yeah, I don't think
you don't have
5,000, 50.
you don't have those players, and so for me, it's I can't put him number 1 when I'm taking all factors into consideration. Obviously, the career and like I said, he's the most valuable quarterback in the whole NFL, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't agree with that anymore. Yeah,
for me, who's gonna go out there and have a better season? I'd bet money on Josh Allen. I'd bet money on Lamar Jackson. I'd bet money on Joe Burrow, all the people I ranked ahead of him to just statistically go out there and produce more.
I think it also has a lot to do with the type of passes he throws, and this has changed dramatically through his career. I mean, when you talk about 3-4 years ago, Patrick Mahomes, he is averaging some of the most air yards per completion. He's putting up massive statistical numbers. If you look at the difference, right? You said Mahomes played one less game last year. He played 16 games. Guess how many more passes he threw than Lamar Jackson? Just take a guess.
100.
Yeah. He threw 107 more throws than Lamar Jackson in one less game, but he had 300 less yards. So, the type of throws like they've had basically the same completion percentage. So he's throwing a lot more short passes, less explosive plays. You know, he's not, as you see in the playoffs, so he's throwing 155 yards and 1 touchdown, 0 picks.
And I don't think you can blame him.
No, you can't blame him either. But he's not asked to do a lot on this team. And that's the problem is like, sure, does he have some all-time great moments in the last 3 years of fourth quarter game-winning drives? Yes. Did he have to do a whole lot of them in this postseason or regular season? Not that many. Like if you look at the playoffs, they were winning the whole Texans game. You could say, you know, what was the game that was close?
The Bills?
The Buffalo game. The Buffalo game. Yeah, the Buffalo game. He played a really good game. He threw 245 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 picks. So by statistical standards, not fantastic. Played good at the end of the game,
though.
and then got blown out in the Super Bowl. So he hasn't done it recently, really. And the type of throws he makes to do it aren't spectacular. I think the roster is completely overhauled too. And so I'd just be shocked. It's kind of fun to have 2 people at 7 and 8, and then 1 and 1. That's pretty rare.
Well, it's because I think we're
Yes.
looking at it a little different.
Yeah, different lens.
I still wouldn't
that makes
take him.
sense.
I don't think Patrick Mahomes is the number 1 pick. If you go starting today, quarterbacks for your team moving forward.
Who would you say?
I mean,
is
you
number
put-
I
one?
mean, Josh Allen's clear. I think obviously the one. Like, really, I think that would be the overwhelming majority of GMs. would
even
say
though he
that.
hasn't been able to win in the
Win.
postseason.
You're such
Totally.
a winner
Well, it's
guy,
not.
Pat.
It depends, right? Like, if these are just blank slate teams, we're talking about what quarterback fits the best with the Chiefs, with arguably one of the best head coaches of all time, one of the best defenses in the NFL over the last 4 or 5 years. Like, yes, Patrick Mahomes is that guy. Josh Allen has taken a Bills team that is way worse from a talent perspective than the Chiefs, and he continues to put up the best offensive numbers in the league, and he's the MVP of the NFL. Like, Patrick Mahomes hasn't sniffed an MVP in a couple seasons. And so, yeah, I think it would be close from a winning perspective because everyone has that mantra, like, it's him and Brady, like you said, right? It's like, oh, he can get to Brady, so, like, that would be what carries him over the edge. But you'd also I think you'd see guys, like younger guys, go pretty high in that draft too. So especially if you're starting
young
from
guys would
today.
go high, but I just don't like
If
the
Mahomes
guys won
finishes
3
top
Super
3
Bowls.
in like passing yards and top 3 in touchdowns, you could just look up. So
He would totally be a top 3 quarterback.
You could just say I'm wrong.
Yeah,
About him being at 8? Yes. Not at 1. It'd be tough for me to put him at 1. Like, he'd have to put up QB, like, 1 stats, be in the MVP conversation. I think MVP is a pretty telltale sign about who's the best quarterback in the league right now. And it's been Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen the last 2 years, both
Neck
for
and
the
neck,
entire
yeah.
season. And then Joe Burrow is just putting up God-tier stats on an absolutely abysmal team. And so, you know, Mahomes, if Mahomes is in the MVP conversation, is receiving a lot of votes for MVP, and is top 3 in passing, I'm 100% wrong about him being 8.
Okay, gotcha.
But
That's all I
I'd
need.
be surprised on that. One last thing. I don't know if you guys wanted to touch on any other quarterbacks before we kind of wrap this up. But where'd you have Jordan Love in your list?
7.
Where'd you have him?
6.
Did you have him or no?
Oh,
No.
7. I meant 7.
7?
I probably like if I was ranking like 10 best, I probably would have put him around 10. But I wanted to do a little hot take for 10.
I didn't.
So.
Yeah, I didn't have him in my list. I want to hear what your thoughts on Jordan Love were going into next season at 7 after last season, because I was where you were a year ago.
Yeah.
Like in the offseason, I was like, Jordan Love looks like he's super talented. He's gonna do it. I mean, I know he only played 15 games last year. I think. Where was it? Yeah, he played 15 games, but he was QB 19 for passing yards. Like, he was really not good last year at all.
Yeah.
I guess for Mike and Rye, what are you seeing in Jordan Love? Is it the receiver change? I know you mentioned Golden.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the added weapons help a lot. I also feel like he just had a really bad start of his year. And then, he kind of started picking up. Seems to be the trend of his, football seasons is that he's kind of starts picking up the head of steam towards the latter half of the season.
And he did come back from his injury, like not fully healed.
Yeah, but that
For sure.
playoff game was abysmal. I mean, maybe one of the worst
Well-
playoff games we've seen from a quarterback.
Yeah.
I
Zero
mean, it was a
touch-
very defensive game.
Totally, but 3 picks,
Yeah, it was
0
very
Oh, no,
touchdowns.
he had a bad game.
200
Don't get me
yards,
wrong.
3
He had a
picks,
very
0
bad- he had
touchdowns.
one bad game, yeah.
That's it. No, I'm not opposed to it. I like Jordan Love, but I could not find a way to rank him here. So I was like, what jumps out to you guys? That's like he's 7.
I mean, I think the experience helps in that I think he's going to be able to get his wheels rolling a little bit earlier. B, he's not injured, so he's going to come into a season fully healthy. And
fair.
and C, I think his weapons and receivers. Obviously, I'm biased, but I think they're better now than they have been in the past 3 years.
Only first round receiver they have on the roster.
for sure.
So
and so
that does make a
those
difference.
3 reasons I would I would add him in.
So that makes sense to me. Ryan, anything else?
I mean, yeah, he was hurt early in the year and just never really looked like he came back. He's the type of guy who's going to finish top 5 in QBR for the rest of his career, in my opinion, or maybe rating if he's that good. I think he's passing yards. You said he finished 19th. He played 2 less games.
Correct.
If he played those 2 games, he could have been top 10. I think it was like a 550 yard.
He threw 33.89. 10 was Brock Purdy at 38.64. So yeah,
500
maybe
yards,
probably right
250
around there.
game. Maybe he gets into the top 10. Maybe he doesn't. Like
Granted,
I said,
Brock Purdy played 15 games too.
oh yeah,
just throwing that out.
someone else on the list probably
yeah,
played
right around
17.
there.
But yeah, I think he bounces back. They have a great offensive coach. I think he takes a step forward. A lot of these guys, I mean, Stroud did it too. The sophomore slump was a real thing. Apparently, Jordan loves sophomore slump because he played.
Yeah, red shirt.
Yeah, exactly. So I think he'll bounce back, hopefully. And I just think he's really talented. He has the intangibles to be insanely talented. He just has to actually use them. So we'll see.
Fair enough. Anything else you guys want to touch on, or kind of wrap this up and leave it to the comment section to debate?
Shador's a bum.
Anyone we're missing?
Shador.
Shador's a bum.
I mean,
Just want to throw that out there.
I think the Jaden Daniels take, that'll just be a wait and see type of thing. Everyone
Yeah.
realizes what he can be. Let's see if he can do it. Not a lot of Bakers. I think I was the only Baker.
Yeah,
in the
Baker.
field.
I feel bad about that.
I put Baker
'Cause I'm
on my
wrong
list.
every year.
He just slept on.
I think Liam Cohen leaving's a big thing.
That's probably.
I think
true.
I think
that
it's
and also just
Godwin hurt.
But he
The
was 3
receivers-
last year.
He's so good.
He was 3 last year.
He's so good.
Yeah, I'd have been 9. It's not like it's not like I was crazy high on Baker, but I'd say everyone kind of had Jared Goff. You didn't have Jared Goff, did you?
Yeah, 10.
Oh, you did?
I had
Okay.
Jared Goff.
We all had Jared Goff then. But yeah, I guess no Geno or Darnold, but that was just a last year thing. Let us know what you think in the comments. How do we do? Whose list do you like the best? These rankings episodes are super fun. We're going to keep doing them. Has some debate topics kind of built into it, and then we can start picking off and debating specifically later on. Let us know what you think. If you're new here, drop a subscribe, drop a comment, like the video, share with a friend. Mike, what else they got to
Turn
do?
the notification bell on. Ding, 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 mo. Just
That was not as enthusiastic.
Yeah, I need more
as ding as I was
enthusiasm.
possible.
A little.
Turn the notification bell on.
ding, 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 ding.
No, one more time. Turn the notification bell on.
Ding, 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 ding.
A little better. We'll see you on the next one.